Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to today's sohbet on this Tuesday, the 10th of June 2025. I hope you are well wherever you are tuning into this from. Today, I wanted to address a question which has come up in the comments of my recent podcast with Jonathan Sacerdoti. I noticed someone asked the question, why doesn't he just become secular? And I thought, maybe it's time to deal with this concept of what is secular. Because there are many people, both religious people and people who aren't religious, who do not seem to understand what the concept of secular means. Secular simply means the separation of religion and state. That religion shouldn't be under the too much domination of the state, or vice versa. The state shouldn't be dominated by a particular religion, but that there should be religious freedom within a state, that people can believe whichever religion or set of beliefs they want to believe, and so long as they're not breaking any laws or causing any trouble, they are free to practice those beliefs. This is what secular means. Secular is not another religion. Secular is not something which means that people have to be atheists or agnostics. Although obviously atheists and agnostics do tend to prefer a secular system simply because it gives them the freedom to believe in whatever they want to believe. And as long as they are constructive citizens and breaking no laws, then this shouldn't create them any other problems. But secular does not mean that a person has to be an atheist or an agnostic. Secular simply means the separation of religion from the state. So, for instance, in Britain at the moment, we actually still have an established religion. Our established religion is the Church of England. But at the same time, within the British system, we have an allowance that people can still believe whatever religion they want to believe and practice whatever beliefs that they want to believe, as long as they're not breaking any laws. So the UK isn't strictly speaking secular, but it operates more or less as a secular system. But there are other countries, such as the United States of America, which are truly secular because they guarantee in their constitution the freedom of religion. That is a secular system. And so long as people are respecting each other and obeying the law, they can believe whatever religion they want to believe in the US. But at the same time, that right is also a responsibility that we also have to respect other people's beliefs and not go against them, in the sense that we don't want to stop them from practicing their religion. We can criticize or have conversations about it, that's fine, but we don't stop them from practicing their religion. We give the same respect that we expect. But it's not an atheist system. The reason I'm mentioning this is there seems to be a misconception, both amongst people who aren't religious and also religious people, that secular is a synonym for atheist. You can be a very strong believing Muslim or a Jew or a Christian or any other religion and be secular, in the sense that you are respecting everybody else's freedom of religion. You don't have to be an atheist. And there are atheists also that don't seem to respect people who have religious beliefs. That's not secular either. That's actually against secularism. The other interesting thing about secularism is that the concept of secularism was arrived at by Averroes. Averroes was a Latin name that was given to him. His name was actually Ibn Rushd. And Ibn Rushd, or Averroes, as is commonly known in Europe, was a scholar of Islam from the 12th century. You couldn't get much more Muslim than Averroes. He was a very Muslim man. He was a scholar of the religion. He was someone that people used to consult about aspects of the religion, just like they do with scholars today. And probably he was more knowledgeable than a lot of scholars that we have today. He was a scholar of Islam, but he arrived at and promoted the concept of secularism because he saw it as a solution that would avoid religious conflicts within a society and would allow people of different religions to share the same space and the same society and build harmonious communities. Now, there is also a precedent, even within Islam, that goes back to the Prophet, peace be upon him himself. Because in the constitution of Medina, there were Jewish tribes, there were pagans, as well as Muslims who signed onto that constitution and agreed with its principles and became protected by that constitution, even though they were Jews, even though they were pagans. And the Prophet said that you have your religion and we have our religion, but we are one ummah. We are one nation. Now, I wouldn't say that all aspects of secularism were necessarily in that constitution, but it was certainly a precursor to it. And for a leader of a religion, a religious leader who become in the end the founder of the world's second largest religion, to actually have promoted this concept from the outset, there's no reason why Muslims can't get behind that idea. And if people ask me this question, why isn't he secular? Well, whether I'm secular or not would have no impact on whether I'm a Muslim or not. Similarly, it would have no impact on whether someone is a Christian or not, or a Jew or not, or any other religious belief. And it wouldn't mean that the person has to be an atheist. So it was a really strange question to ask. And it comes from the fact that people are saying things which they don't understand what they're talking about. I'm being asked about the hudud punishments. And this, again, why is someone asking me about the hudud punishments when I'm talking about the concept of secularism? I mean, at least you could remain on topic. It's not that I wouldn't talk about that, but it's not exactly on topic. Now, the thing is, it's like people mention these words without understanding the meaning of a word. When you make a comment or ask a question, at least understand the words that you're using. In many respects, yes, you could describe me as a secular Muslim because I am someone who respects the laws of the country that I'm in, respects other religions, and yes, I invite people towards my religion, but at the same time, I don't see them any differently or in any negative way if they choose to follow a different religion or choose to follow no religion at all. This is an individual matter. This is something each and every one of us has to decide for ourselves. And it's not something that can be, or not something I believe should be mandated by a state or by anybody else. We have to find the answers for ourselves. It is a spiritual journey, and a spiritual journey is a journey which we embark upon and we discover the answer for ourselves or the answers for ourselves. I hope that helps clarify the point about secularism, and I hope gives you some food for thought. And like I said, don't forget when people mention this word, it was a Muslim scholar, Ibn Rushd, who actually basically is known as the father of secularism in Europe, because that's where Europe gets secularism from. It is actually something that arrived out of Muslim scholarship. So don't think of it as something which is evil or atheistic. Look into things first. Anyway, take care. I hope you all have a wonderful evening if you're in the UK and wherever you are. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and blessings of God be with you all.